Hi there, everyone. Welcome from Trinity, Florida. This is Get Well Michele, and we are live at Green Culture. We are going to talk to some plant-based doctors today, and we're really excited to do that. They are with the plant-based nutrition movement of Tampa Bay, to soon be renamed to the plant-based lifestyle movement. So put that down, write it down so you can start following them. We're going to go have a seat and talk to them and see what they're up to and what they have to say about eating a plant-based diet. Do you guys want to have a seat? Have a seat. So we have 3 doctors here today. So if you could first start by telling me a little bit about who you are and what you do. And ladies first.
Thank you, Michele. Thank you. My name is Angela Persaud-Reddy. I'm an internal medicine doctor and also board certified by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. I'm very much involved with the plant-based movement in spreading and empowering others to live healthy through lifestyle choices. Plant-based is not only good for the body and keeping us healthy, but it's great for the environment. So I support a plant-based lifestyle. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Koushik Reddy. I am the fortunate one who is married to this beautiful doctor that she just spoke to. And so we are kind of in the mission together. I'm an interventional cardiologist, been practicing interventional cardiology for a good 14-15 years now. But now on a mission to tell people how easily using nothing but nutrition, specifically a plant-based nutrition and lifestyle, they can stay away from a guy like me and meeting me in the cardiac cath lab. I actually walk with a white coat that reads, I have a carrot and a stent, you pick.
That's awesome.
Hello, I'm Dr. Yves Homsy. I'm a nutritionist and I work with USF at the Morsani College of Medicine Bridge Clinic and at the Judea Christian Clinic as a volunteer. The patients I see are all patients who have problems either with high cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, and overweight, and who are willing and commit to wanting to change their lifestyle in order to get better. And those who follow what I tell them actually do get better. And I'm involved with PBNM as well, and I'm very happy to be part of this organization.
So I am also involved with the organization and am so proud to be involved with this group of doctors who is about spreading the truth to their patients and giving them all of the information that so many of us don't receive when we're so desperate for it. If you have a question, you're welcome to type it in and send it to us, and if we can, we'll answer it. If not, definitely listen to us, follow us, pay attention to them. They are really movers and shakers in this 2019 era, and they're really taking us into 2020 with things that need to be known to the public. A plant-based lifestyle is better for health. It's also better for environment and animals, so it's a win-win-win. But these guys are the doctors who are telling it like it is, and I respect them so much for what they're doing. So Dr. Koushik Reddy is the founder of the organization, and if you want to give us a little bit more about the organization, we'd love to hear more.
So absolutely. So we founded this organization in partnership with another colleague of mine in Chicago about a year ago. But now we are restructuring the name and we're restructuring our organization. Our main focus is going to be all areas of lifestyle medicine. Very simple things is that, just telling people that doing 4 or 5 simple things can prevent majority of the common chronic diseases that we are all burdened as a society with. Simple things such as not smoking, simple things such as walking for just half an hour a day, some physical activity. And trying to maintain a close to an ideal body weight and getting adequate sleep, having stress life, minimizing stress, have enormous impact, more powerful than any of my tools in the cardiac cath lab or my medications. So we formed an organization with community leaders like Michele and other social activists who are doing the right thing, and a whole group of physicians. So we all came together and founded an organization. It's going to be soon renamed as a plant-based lifestyle movement. And our mission is very simple, to get this message to as many people as possible, that doing very simple things, that they can live long, healthy lives. And I just want to quote somebody said something very cool a couple of days ago. Dr. Jeremiah Standler. He is the founding father of preventive cardiology, which is an area of my interest. He's turning 100 next month, and still actively researching at the National Institute of Health. When he was asked what are his long-term plans, he said, "I'm only 99. I got time." So that's the kind of life. It's possible. It is possible for most of us, because we take longevity for granted now, because in last 2 generations we doubled human life expectancy from 43 to almost 79. So the question is that, what do we want to do with long life? Running around my hospital and my clinic and my procedure lab, or having fun on a sunny September afternoon like this and having a bonding relationship with friends and the community? So that's all, folks. That's our mission, is to get as many people acutely aware of the benefits of what food can do, what lifestyle can do. Thank you.
So I remember when I first met Koushik, one of the things that he said to me was that as a doctor practicing, you just didn't know. A few years ago, you didn't know, and you made a change.
Yes.
So how long ago was it that you made this connection and change?
I made the connection probably about 5 years ago, that there is a huge connection between nutrition and life. I mean, we kind of knew that, healthy eating, but what does it actually mean? What is the scientific data? Without that, you don't feel empowered. But my true awakening was like randomly walking into a TV show by Dr. Furman a few years ago, and that set off an avalanche in a good way of learning and educating myself, which is about 3 years ago now. And once I came to the realization that most of the diseases that I treat need not even exist, so I compiled literature, I compiled years worth of data, and that was another rude awakening as to how much scientific material has been accumulated over the course of good portion of half a century, and that us doctors are not made aware of this, at least on a regular basis. So I've been on a mission to teach students, residents, hold seminars and lectures at the hospital. And then one thing led to another. Now we are taking it to the grassroots levels, because we teach this at the medical school now, we teach it at the hospital, but who is talking to the firemen at the precinct? Who is talking to a ladder station? Who's talking to the teachers? Who's talking to the public school or the churches? So yesterday we just held an event at the church. It was a huge success. So that's our next step, is to take it to as many people as possible. Yeah.
So I loved when he said that to me, and I love that about him. And it's interesting because one of the comments that one of you wrote is, once you start eating a plant-based diet, you don't need doctors anymore. And you've actually said things like that before, which is really cool that you acknowledge that as a doctor. You know what I mean? It's like you say it, you speak it, you live it, and that to me, it just gives me all the respect for the doctors of this organization, because they are really out there preaching a plant-based lifestyle. And in reality, it takes away from your patients. It can take your patients and they can all go bye-bye because they won't need you anymore. And so in a sense, doctors that preach the plant-based lifestyle are losing customers, patients, so to speak. But yet, these guys are pioneers in doing that because they want people to know the truth. They don't want to have to open their arteries and legs and veins and do surgeries. They want people to be healthy and live long lives. And that is amazing. You're so inspirational. And I hope that the other doctors out there take the time to learn about lifestyle medicine and plant-based foods, because so much can change if we can take our country towards that goal. It's so important for every individual to maintain a plant-based diet. Now, the girls have gone, but I still see that the Reddys have their sons sitting here, and I wanted to interview their kids for a second. So the son's the only one here, so we're going to go get you for a minute. Is that okay? Okay. So, thank you for talking to me, by the way. It's not often that I get to talk to plant-based kids, so that's really exciting. So how long have you been plant-based?
So I've been plant-based for about...
Talk loud into the mic.
So I've been plant-based for about 11 months, since summer 2018.
And what made you make that decision?
So what made the decision was that the ethics of the animals and the nutrition benefits, and the truth is basically that I learned from all the animal cruelty, and then I understand it.
I love that. Okay, so we all know who I am, and I love hearing that. And I say it all the time. Adults connect with health, and kids connect with animals. And here's an example for that. And you learned that you can protect animals and be healthier yourself, right? So now your family's healthy, you can live longer, healthier lives, and you can do great things for the animals and the environment, right?
Yes.
I love him. I love that. So how do you feel about being plant-based? Is it something, are any of your friends plant-based?
Well, no one at my school is plant-based, and I feel good to be plant-based because like it changed my whole lifestyle, and it also changed like how I look and how I feel, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Do you feel better?
I feel better. I feel more energized.
So, how old are you?
12.
You're 12, and
Yes.
you feel more energized
Right,
now
right,
than you
right.
did at 11 when you were not plant-based? Really?
Yeah.
That is really cool. So, okay, that's a real testimony right there, because when the old people like me say that, people are like, oh, well, you feel more energized, you know, you were old. But he's a youngster. He has all the energy in the world, and he has more energy on a plant-based diet than he did prior. So how cool is that? So he's eating in a way that gives him more energy, it keeps him healthier, and it aligns with his morals. That's really cool. That's like something to be so proud of.
Yeah.
And I really hope the other kids in your school start following you. And you know what? One day they will. One day they will. You're going to be a pioneer yourself. Just watch it. Thank you. Thank you for talking
You're
to me.
welcome.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go back over to the doctors for a second.
Bye-bye.
So I'm going to run back over. So that was your son speaking. He did a great job. How proud of him are you? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
we
great.
are very proud of him. He actually keeps a good tab on us. He's the one who checks all the ingredients, makes sure there's honey in this, there's that in this. So it's quite inspirational. You know, the kids keep us humble. Kids are the future, and it's important. You know, Michele, you asked our son, but you know, from a cardiologist, I just want to put a perspective of Michele asking our son a question. And but the bigger problem that I see, you know, going forward as a country, the American Heart Association every year publishes the profile of cardiovascular risk factors amongst our children in this country between ages 2 to 19, and they ask very simple question: what percentage of our children are smokers, what percentage of the children have diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, conditions like that. And most of it is pretty good. Most of our kids are not smoking, most of our kids are not diabetics, most of our kids are not, you know, on blood pressure medications. But what is shocking is that red being bad, green being good, yellow being so-so on that graph. When you look at a bar graph in the middle, including for 2019, asking a simple question that what percent of our children are meeting a healthy diet index, there is not a single pixel of green in that bar graph. The percent of our kids who are eating a healthy diet, it's not even 100% plant-based utopian diet. It's a very practical, doable, all-inclusive healthy diet. That signal is not detectable as a country. Here is my plea to America. If that does not make us pause and ask ourselves as to where we are heading as a generation, we are going to be morally and ethically be bankrupt, because we are already financially bankrupt. So this is our next this is the reason why the CDC is predicting that 1 in 3 children born after 2000 are going to be diabetics, and likely to be outlived by their parents. That never happened in the history of this country or any other country, that a next generation is expected to be outlived by their previous.
And a plant-based diet can change that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you hear that, people? A plant-based diet can change that. So important to understand it. A plant-based diet changes so many things. We are out to spread this message. We want you to hear it. Can you give me an amen? All right. Amen. Seriously. Plant-based diet changes it all. Last question I want to ask. Angie, I want to ask you, if that's okay?
Yeah.
So your family made this change. When did you make it, and what actually started it? What started the whole process for you?
So, like my husband said, in 2015, we had that waking up on a Saturday morning and watching Dr. Furman speak at USF, and we were at a loss for words, because in medical school, nutrition is barely touched. It's a subject that's barely taught. And when we learned that most of the chronic diseases today can be prevented through diet, it was a big shocker, because all we were taught to do is to make diagnosis and make a treatment plan, not how to prevent this. So if chronic diseases can be prevented by lifestyle changes, why was this missing from our medical school curriculum? So we started to dig deeper into the literature, more so in the scientific journals, and we were up for a rude awakening. So we had to basically learn this on our own. And we joined the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, where my husband and I he became one of the first class to get boarded. I became one of the second classes. So right now we feel so empowered to go forward and spread this message throughout America. And our entire family, including my parents, they became plant-based within the last 2 years. Within our home, it's a habit now. It's not even something that we try to do. So whatever you do consistently becomes a habit. So we transform with all of the things that we teach ourselves to do. So this is part of our lives. We feel so empowered to eat this way. My energy, a mom of 3, is much higher now than it was 10 years ago. And I can do all the things much better with a different degree of concentration, memory, energy, and be able to be more meticulous and be able to focus better. So I feel the best, on top of my game, by changing the way we live and what we eat, and using our time to eat, and what we put on our plate is the most important decision that we make on a day-to-day basis. And when we put that plate together, we know it's our moment to be one with our food, with our family, and just being able to give our body the best nutrition ever. So thank you.
I just want to plug in a couple of things. Like my wife said, ask yourself that one very basic simple question. Why do you want to be healthy? Because the change about wanting to be healthy has to come from deep within. And put in a broader philosophical sense, one of my favorite quotes of all times is that if we are what we repeatedly do, and I'm going to say it again, if we are what we repeatedly do, excellence then is a habit, not a gift. So I just want kind of people to remember that this is not some kind of unattainable thing that only some sophisticated doctors have access to. Most of my nutrition knowledge is something that I acquired from books written for lay people. So I just want to plug that in. The second one is a shout out to all the medical professionals, doctors, DOs, PhDs, nurse practitioners, anybody who is in a direct patient care contact, or pharmacists. Please look up the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. The meeting is now for 2019 is going to be in Orlando. Please look it up. If the time is not an issue, please register. Come to the meeting. It's one of the best meetings that I've attended since I got into medical school. The third one I want to plug in is a different perspective as to why my wife, myself, and my entire family is in this space. It's nothing to do with health. I wish our older daughter was here and she could tell the story better than I can. But it's about us being on Sarasota Beach and witnessing a baby shark being pulled out of the ocean. And it's a long story, but I'm going to summarize it. And she saw that, and then she was so traumatized. And on our way back to the hotel room, she grabbed my hand and said, "Dad, if this is what it takes for me to eat your grilled salmon, I don't want to be a part of it." And she was 11 years old, and she made a unilateral decision all by herself because she witnessed something. So being the supportive parents we try to be, we did not talk her in or out of it because it's her call, something that came so naturally. And what was inspiring and powerful is that 11-year-old kid with 2 physician parents in the household and 2 other siblings, she did her thing. She stood her ground. She stuck to what changed her mind. And through that process is when my wife and I came across Dr. Furman's video, and that led to do what I do best, is to dig into not necessarily the ethics of it, but the science of it. So it's kind of a well-balanced way of looking at all of that. But to be honest with everybody, is the person who actually got us into all of this is our 11-year-old kid who is now 16, and she is actually writing an entire essay on this, which we hope to publish soon.
That is really cool. I was hoping you were going to mention that because I know people love to hear that. And it's so many times kids will see something with animals and it just mortifies them because they don't see this out in the world. It's not publicized. They see it, whether it's a real life experience like your daughter saw, or it's something they see on TV or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they make that ethical connection and they don't want to do it anymore. But what you two did that was amazing as parents is you supported your daughter. Do you know how many times as an educator that I'm working with kids and they're learning health and they're learning plant-based nutrition and they're learning about animals, and they go home to their parents and they say they don't want to eat animals anymore, and their parents are like, oh no, that's where you get your protein, that's what you're doing, because the parents don't understand that there are other healthier protein alternatives. So when you listen to your kids, look what listening to your child did for you. It planted a seed that then when you went to this class or you saw Dr. Furman, I believe it was, speak, it all connected for you. It was like, wow, and it all does connect. And it's really cool when you can really see all of those connections happen. So you guys did an amazing job as parents, and look what it's done for you. Your whole lives have changed, and now you're out there changing so many other people's lives. So that is so cool.
Well, it is so closely connected that beyond our imagination, because there are not going to be any healthy people on a dead planet, right?
Keep going.
Yeah, what I was saying was that there are not going to, and the impact on environment, impact on animals, and impact on our water systems, it's all intertwined. It's not like we are living in a silo of humanity without connection to the planet. While my wife and I, we focus on health as physicians, but the impact of what we choose to eat and a lot of other things that we do is directly related to the environment. So that's why I say people, there are not going to be any healthy people on a dead planet.
All right, and I believe you had something else to say?
Yeah. Just on a personal level, I want to mention how I came around to this plant-based business. 8 years ago, I watched the documentary called Forks Over Knives, and I was struck by the passion and the research that came into that from different sources. And as a scientist, when you see things coming together from different sources and culminating to the same conclusion, that lends a lot of credibility. Interestingly, one of the people in that documentary was Dr. Esselstyn, and he wrote a book called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Well, I said to myself, if you can reverse heart disease, how about preventing it in the first place? And interestingly, his results were fabulous because he was able to stabilize heart disease in 88% and reverse it in 22% of his patients. So that's what made it click for me. My cholesterol was in the so-called normal range, but it dropped by 50 or 60 points. I lost 15 pounds, never took a statin again, and I've been that way for the past 6 or 7 years. So I think this is a personal story on how these things respond, and it's not a matter of waiting 6 months or a year. The results can be very, very rapid. Within a few weeks, you see the cholesterol drop, the weight go away, melt away, and you're feeling a lot better.
Thank you so much. So you've been talking or listening to some plant-based doctors today, some lifestyle medicine doctors. I'm so glad you had an opportunity to do that. I really want everyone to be able to connect plants, environment, and health together, because guess what? We all care about at least one of those, right? So whether you care about your own personal health, or you care about the planet, or you care about animals, whatever it is, a plant-based diet is better for them all. By switching to a plant-based diet, you can protect animals, you can help save our planet, and you can definitely make yourself a healthier person and have a healthier, longer life. These are things that we all want to do, right? We can do them with one thing, switching to a plant-based diet. So I thank you for being part of today. We're going to keep meeting with them on a regular basis, so you're going to have lots of opportunities to hear what they have to say and to ask them questions. I thank you for listening today. This is Get Well Michele signing off. We'll see you all soon. Happy weekend.
Okay.